Are you postpartum, no matter if you're 6 weeks, 6 years, or even beyond out, and you have low back tightness, maybe some stiffness, some aches and pains here and there? I have a low back stretch for you today. So we're gonna hop back to the mat. We're gonna start with a child's pose. So I am going to have my knees apart at the edge of the mat, feet together. So my toes are touching, and then I'm just gonna sit my bum back on my heels. And then this may be enough for you depending on where you are in your movement journey or where you are really in general with flexibility. If you want to, you can get down to your elbows. You can continue to creep your hands out as feels good for you and your body. If you want to rest your head down, you can do that too. So I'm Dr. Sarah. I'm a family physician, a wife, a mom of 5, and an exercise enthusiast. I currently have a 9-month-old at the time of this recording, all the way up to a 7.5-year-old. And I wanted to do a low back stretch because I feel like no matter how far postpartum you are, your low back is an area that often gets tight as a mom because you're maybe driving a lot, you're sitting a lot, or you're, lifting things like groceries, babies, all the things. Or maybe you're even like me where I have a low back injury from the past, and so intermittently have in the past struggled with chronic back pain, but I have essentially resolved most of my issues with stretching and with movement. I had a surgery when I was younger. I have a video all about my back issues, so I will link that below. And one of my favorite stretches I'm going to do at the end, I always save it for last because it's my favorite when I do my low back stretches. So you can definitely keep watching for that. But yeah, I think also with stretching, a lot of times people will say, how long do you hold stretches? Like, we've been in this stretch for a while. I have learned that I have to adjust it day to day for my body and what part I'm stretching, because it really depends. Most of the time it's at least 30 seconds, sometimes up to 2 or 3 minutes. Okay. So then we're going to just gently get out of that. So that should help open up your hips, your low back. Now we're going to go onto our backs. I'm going to try to, my mat, I hopefully will stay in the frame here. So this one is low back also with some glutes or like your bum muscles. So I'm going to take my right knee into my chest, and then I'm going to use my left hand to rotate it over. And then my right hand is out in a T. I'm running out of space here, but you can have your right hand out in a T, and you're going to take your head and look over that right shoulder. So you'll see this gets your glute on the right, but you should also feel that rotation in your low back. And as you hold this and breathe into it, you'll start to feel things loosening up. And this is an amazing one because, like I said, you're getting more than one area with the movement. And the more you practice this and fall into it, it's almost like your body will start to crave it. And you always want to think about breathing really deeply and sending your breath to the area that you're stretching. I never understood what that meant or how to do it, but I decided one day that I would try. And the more I practiced it, the more I began to understand how to do it and what it does. So if you feel confused about that, it's okay, just practice. Now we're gonna release and we're gonna do the other leg. Let me just adjust here. So that now I'm taking my right leg into my chest, and I'm gonna use my right hand to pull it over. And then I'm gonna extend, this arm is out. I know I'm out of frame. And then you can look over that left arm. So now we're doing the same thing just on the other side.
And again, you should be getting that glute stretch plus the low back kind of rotation there. And stretching is a wonderful way to move that's gentle. It can be mentally helpful as well. It sort of can be this like peaceful time to be mindful. Now, don't get me wrong. If I'm not recording a video, much of my stretching has babies around or toddlers climbing on top of me, kids needing something, and I do one stretch and then I pause and I go get something, and that's okay. You can always, my videos are all meant to be customizable. So if you need to break up the moves and do them throughout the day, that's amazing. You do what works for you today. And you can start to feel like on your exhale, you may notice that you can get more and more into this rotation. All right, the last stretch we're gonna do today is one that's kind of a dynamic one because we're gonna be moving through it. But this is my absolute favorite low back stretch. And it's one I've worked on for a while. So I have seen, I've seen a lot of increase in my flexibility with doing this over time. So on this one, you're gonna inhale, and on the inhale, you look up to the ceiling and you sort of arch your back. This is called cat-cow. I should have said that before, but, and then on the exhale, you just flow through, turn yourself into a Halloween cat. You want to think about, I try to think about a string being attached to my thoracic spine that goes to the ceiling, and that string is literally just like pulling me up, and your pelvis is sort of tilted, and you just get that amazing low back opening here. And I think about pressing my hands into the mat and like pushing my shoulders sort of away. And then it's another inhale. So your chest drops, your chin is up, your pelvic floor is relaxed on the inhale. And then on the exhale, you're like a Halloween cat. Your pelvic floor is up and in. I will link my 360 breathing videos below, but that's what I'm talking about, where you're pairing your breath, your rib expansion or contraction, your pelvic floor contraction and relaxation with the movement that you're doing. So I'll say that again. So it's inhale, pelvic floor relaxes, ribs expand, chin is up, you're arched. And on the exhale, you're like a Halloween cat, your pelvic floor is up and in, your ribs are contracted. Now, if you are newly postpartum, again, if I didn't say it already, you always want to talk to your doctor. I'm just going to move through this. You guys can do the same with your breath. You always want to talk to your doctor about what's appropriate for you and when you can get back to movement. This is something that is incredibly gentle. And so this is something for me, like when I was a week or two postpartum, I was doing this. Now, I will say, if you are newly postpartum, and or you have abdominal separation or medically what's called a diastasis recti, you want to be really careful with the with the cow portion, which is the arching, because if you overdo this move, you can potentially make the diastasis or the separation worse. So when I'm first initially postpartum and healing my diastasis, which I've had with every single one of my pregnancies, I would stop at neutral. So I would stop here as opposed to going into that arch. I'm now 9 months postpartum, and I've been working really hard on healing my diastasis. And so my body and I feel comfortable doing a little bit more. But if you are newer postpartum, you definitely want to be careful with that. And again, you always want to talk to your team about what's right for you. This is all intended to be education. Awesome. And for anyone that has heard or thinks, or maybe there's like a limiting belief that stretching doesn't count as movement,
It absolutely does. There are stretches that I do where I get a little bit sweaty, but even if you're not getting sweaty, you're still moving in a way that nourishes your body. And if that's what's right for you that day or in that time of your life, it absolutely count it, because it absolutely counts. And, you know, if you're that mom that was like me, that was struggling to figure out how to exercise, how to reconnect with her body, how to feel strong and confident while navigating being a mom, like, that's what I'm here for. I'm making all these videos showing you how it can be simple, it can be doable, it can be judgment free, and it doesn't have to be a set amount of time every single day. It can be minutes, even one a day, and it will make a difference. So you definitely want to subscribe here for more. Ring the bell so you never miss a video. If you are loving this and you think, oh my gosh, does she have live workouts? Yes, I do. I am doing live workouts. You can get signed up for those at my website, which is drsarahionescu.com. You can get on my email list, and then I will let you know when the next one is going to be if you sign up for the email list. So I will link my website also in the description box. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. You know, imagine if in just a couple minutes a day, you could feel reconnected to yourself. You could be taking the time you need to build strength, to start to rebuild your core and pelvic floor, to feel stronger, more vibrant, more confident, to just feel more like yourself. Because I don't know about you, but after that first baby, I was wondering where I was. I was like, who was that person before and where did she go? And yes, after delivery, you may feel like a different person, but you're a new version of yourself. Yourself is still there, but you've leveled up. You're a new version. And that's what this movement is all about. It's about reconnecting, rebuilding, and then leveling up. All right, here for you. Thanks for being here. Bye, everyone.